You can clean you can have a driver change, you can clean the screen while you're doing the refueling. The only thing you can't do with the tyres.
And that's as much as anything just down to cost, to try and control the budgets and make sure you haven't got Formula One style pit stops with 4 guys, one on each corner, and all the expense that goes with that in terms of guns and everything else. So Mark's away, Timo's away. And let's see what he can do, because he really needs to set about closing the gap to Marc Genet in the #1 Audi. Mark Webber losing nearly a lap in that stint, because of course when Mark got in that car, that was leading this race. So the #2 car, Marcel Fassler at the wheel, 3:26.7 last time round, 2 laps down on the leader Marc Genet. The caption on the screen not really telling the story of Webber's stint there. Webber lost a lot of time due to a safety car when we lost one of the SMP Racing Ferrari 458s that went in the wall in the Porsche curves, and they had to replace a large section of barrier and catch fencing. The driver of that SMP car, fine. He walked away from that, no problem at all. And we see the 97 in for its stop. So we're about to see the battle resume between Bruno Senna and Jean-Marie Bruni.
So Bruni finally stopped.
He did. I definitely had that wrong. Bruno Senna stopping on lap 259.
And the Aston stopping a lap later. So, as you say, both of them will be very, very equal in terms of fuel loads, etc. next time they are on the track together. But there's the 97 Aston in the pits. Now, is that Bruno? I think Bruno's still in there. Certain amount of smoke coming from the front.
That's just
hot brakes.
Hot brakes, exactly. Nothing to worry about there. Could even be a bit of rubber just stuck in the caliper, as we see. Oh, going back in the garage. Well, this is a turn of events. That car going back in on the skates. And of course, only a certain number of people can even touch it while they're turning it around and pulling it in. So you saw the guys there leaning over there to be able to grab it and pull it back. And let's see what's going on there. Need to switch screens on the computer. Just have a look and see what's going on, because yeah, we certainly, with the pace that he was showing, wouldn't have expected that car to be going in, but something on the data must be telling them we need to have a look. So no risks being taken, bonnet off, having a good look at the front of the engine.
And instantly, of course, it means that Gianmaria Bruni is in the lead in the 51 Ferrari of GT Pro, as the Aston is stranded in the pits, in the garage.
You see Graham Leslie there, son of the late David, one of the mechanics in that squad. Fantastic to see him and the family, the rest of the family still involved very much with this sport.
So that's going to be a delay. They've got something like 2 laps advantage over the next GT Pro car. Why they want to put the lights on, I don't know.
They're cycling something electrically, so I don't know, maybe if that car runs an electric water pump or similar, and they're having to have a look at that. It's going to be something they've seen on the data, but he did complete that stint. Or did he? Was that 2 laps short? Because the gap between he and Bruni in terms of stop right now looks like it was 2 laps, and I'm confident there was 4 last time, so this may well have been an unscheduled. Just have a look on the feeds we've got available from us. I think this is an unscheduled stop, actually. I think that's 2 laps early. Don't tell me that this is the same failure they've seen in the past of a power steering pipe. I'm hearing a lot of pipe shouting going on, and that failure, something they've seen quite a few times on that car. They've seen them, yeah, let's see what we can pick up. Just going to have a look and see if we can find out what's caused that. I suspect that we're seeing something going on around the steering rack here. Down doing a lot of cable tying. And the race engineer there on that car on the right-hand side. Sorry, we're just looking to see what goes on there. But the fact that we had some smoke there, I suspect that we are seeing something, a failure around the power steering area, because you've got a mechanic in from underneath the left-hand wheel arch, as well as people in from underneath and above. So the only thing that I can think in that area on that car, the steering rack. So that's the 35 Mardenborough in. That's a straightforward stop. He's going to fire that and send it on its way. You see, there's still plenty of pad left in that car, having had a brake change at about 6 o'clock this morning. And Jan Mardenborough gets on his way out the pit lane, still leading the LMP2 class, now up to 6th overall. Fantastic run from that brand new Ligier, making its race debut here. So we're still not seeing anything, still not seeing any report of what's really gone on there, but that's the biggest news of the race, certainly this hour, that the Bruno Senna car is sitting in the pits, and this is going to be a long stop so far. I think they've now lost over 5 minutes, so they're going to be a lap down to the Bruni car, and the Porsche guys, Richard Leitz and co, will be pushing on hard. So the Porsche of Richard Leitz is now only 50 seconds behind Bruno Senna. This is how Porsche ran the race last year. They sat and watched and waited for the others to fall foul of problems, including Fred Makovicky in the factory Aston having a bit of a wallop on the Mulsanne straight. As soon as we've got some news on what's happened to that 97, we will let you know. So back to what we're seeing on the screen. The Rebellion R1, currently driven by Nick Heidfeld, taking that car over. Charging on, doing some very respectable times for a brand new car this time in the race. He was lapping every bit as quick as the Porsche of Mark Webber, but Timo Bernhard, now that he's got in that car, not that much faster than Mark Webber was. He's done a 3:29.9 that last time around, which is still 4 seconds away from what those Audis are lapping at. Both Audis, both Genet in the #1 car and Marcel Fassler in the #2, lapping 5 seconds quicker than the Bernhard car. So let's see that Porsche. Get the feeling those guys just want to bring this home at the moment, but I can't believe that's not the Porsche way. So the 92 car, Richard Leitz, now comes through to take 2nd overall in the GTE Pro class. That position change happening now, I believe. So Richard Leitz doing everything that he needs to do. And Jordan Taylor not that far behind them in the Chevrolet Corvette. So we're about to see that GTE Aston drop down as we see the drop down to 4th in class, as we see the 14 LMP1 Porsche, the car that was delayed early in the race with these issues looked to be electrical. but good reliability here from the Porsches. In the pits, getting a fresh set of boots. Just getting an update on the Aston. So the Aston now down. Jordan Taylor about to pass the Aston as it comes round next time. But Richard Leeds now second in GTE Pro in the Porsche. I think that that's going to be the power steering pipe. That we've seen this failure before, but we're hearing it could possibly be oil, engine oil. We'll see. It's concerning, and I do think that he came in unscheduled 2 laps early. So back to what's going on at the top of the times. Timo Bernard 3:30.6, so consistently now 4 to 5 seconds a lap slower than the Audis. As we see the SMP car in the pit lane, the 27 car, which is on its fight back. Anton Lardegin bringing that car in and now handing that car over to former Formula 1 driver Mika Salo. Mika getting strapped in, that blue helmet. New tyres going on, and that car on the chase through. They lost a lot of time early on in the race.
Yes, of course, they had an accident in a warm-up yesterday morning, and Mika Salo's suffering in that accident as well.
Doing a sterling job considering a repeat of that failure. There's going to be some extremely angry management in that Aston Martin garage. Let's hope for their sake, it's for John Gore's temper's sake, it's not that, as the Jordan Taylor car comes past to go 3rd in class. So we now have Jean-Marie Bruni in the 51 Ferrari 458 leading the class by over a lap to Richard Leeds. In fact, 2 laps now to Richard Leeds. We saw them put a lap on that car about half an hour ago. Another lap on that car about half an hour ago, and Jordan Taylor another lap further back on him. And then, you know, there we are in the garage now. We can see the 97 just slipping away from them. 12 minutes and 10 seconds in the pit so far. The mechanics under the car desperately trying to do something. Just see if Aston Martin Racing are going to tell us what's really going on there, because they're usually quite good at telling us what's going on. So the fight back from the Corvette is quite impressive to see those guys now back on the podium. It is power steering pipe. I was right. It's the same problem that befell that car twice last season. I can't believe that they're in that same position again, having lost so much time last year to that same issue. So yeah, it seems to be the Achilles heel.
Management would find that pretty unforgivable, really, wouldn't they?
I would say so. I would say John Gore will be having some heavy words with those engineers. It's just not something that you should repeat, a failure like that. You have it once, you fix it, and you never have it again. But twice last year, and now again, we see that power steering pipe causing the problem with the 97 car, and it ultimately looks like any chance of victory in the GT Pro cars.
It's all disappearing, isn't it? Gianmaria Bruni comfortably out in front now. Richard Leeds in 2nd place. Jordan Taylor's gone through up into 3rd. So message there for Nicolas Lapierre and the Toyota number 8. couple of laps more on these tyres and he comes in, but there's not really much of a chance of any changes. The only change that we could be looking at is Marcel Fessler still reeling in the Porsche in second place, now driven by Timo Bernhard.
At the current rate, they will catch and pass that car. It's just whether Porsche can do anything about this. I'm surprised that Timo Bernhard, yeah, he's going ever so slightly faster than Mark Webber was, but we're not seeing the pace we expect to see. And again, you know, you look down at the Rebellion. The Rebellion is matching that Porsche pace very nearly. Certainly, the Rebellion is doing Nick Heidfeld in that car in the same time as Mark Webber was in the Porsche. So not what we would expect to see, but I'm sure a smile on Bart Hayden's face down in the Rebellion garage that all the millions that have been invested in that Porsche programme, he can be with his little plucky team from Farnborough punching there with the best of them.
This lap for Marcel Fessler, who is doing a fantastic job. He's lapping 1.7 seconds off the fastest lap we've seen in this race, which was set only on lap 4, a 3 minutes 24.8 last time around for Marcel Fessler. And you've got to say that the two stars at the moment would seem to be Marcel Fessler and Jan Mardenborough.
Absolutely, Fessler should be staying in for one more for us. This will be his final stint, so this won't be tyres, fuel only. You heard him say fuel alarm. So they have a reserve tank within the main tank, and they see a little light come on the dashboard saying that they've begun depleting that reserve tank. And as soon as that happens, they know they've only got one more lap of Le Mans. So very difficult to run out of fuel. So no, we're seeing Fessler out. So that was a quadruple actually from Fessler. Lothra in, and he'll take up the chase.
Well, great effort by the Swiss driver. And new tyres, new boots go on that car.
Brand new sticker tyres, no scrub tyres there, as we see the Jota car swing in front of them. That won't cause them any grief. The Jota car, I think that's going to be a driver change for Jota.
And already lots of lock wound on for Andre Losserer.
Ooh, nearly stalls it as he pulls out around that Jota Zytek.
It's not a pretty noise, is it?
The diesel engine, no, absolutely not. It's a big old thumper.
Sounds a bit like an air jack, frankly.
It does.
Or an air gun, rather.
Air gun, yeah, absolutely. It is a big old thumper, but he hasn't connected his drink tube, so obviously not feeling that thirsty. I'm sure he'll realise he hasn't done that the first time he presses the button for a nice squirt of something and doesn't get it.
Well, interestingly, Marc Genet, 3 minutes 28, Timo Bernhard, 3 minutes 28, Nicolas Lapierre, 3 minutes 28, Neil Jani, 3 minutes 28. So if they were all on the same lap, that'd be all very good fun, but they're not.
Yeah, that Aston's still in the pits as well.
Yeah, slipping down the order now, 23rd overall, 4th in class.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about those times, though. The Bernhard now, the time's coming to him in a way that they didn't come to Mark Webber. We saw Mark almost falling off the pace as the stint went on, whereas Timo now bringing the times down to be able to match Genet in that Audi. So the number 2 car we're on board with now. Lothra on his outlap. He's trying bringing everything up to temperature and pressure.
Amazing whines of that car as it recuperates and recovers the energy.
That's spinning up the flywheel that sits in the cockpit next to the driver in a large box. And that flywheel generating the energy that's then deployed through the front and rear motors, electric motors, in that Quattro 4x4 Audi. So Toyota 8 allowing us to stop.
And that'll be Nicolas Lapierre coming in. Who takes over from him, we will see. Must be massively disappointing
to be ahead of them. That's something that those guys are going to find difficult. But you have to say, what would have happened if this 8 car hadn't had that shunt? Because all the time they lost is through that accident, because even that second lot of time when they had to come in and start playing with aero balance, things that had affected it, it was all accident damaged parts.
Lapierre out, and getting in there is
Red Bull backed driver, which is
Sebastian
Buemi, yeah,
who still does work for Red Bull Racing back at the Milton Keynes factory in Formula 1, and he comes to most of the Grand Prix when he can, and does work in the Paddock Club. He actually sets a time in the Paddock Club on the simulator, and if you beat it, you get a bottle of champagne, or a Magnum, I think, possibly. So I think they're fairly safe, actually. You ain't going to beat it, especially the amount of time he spends on the simulator.
Absolutely.
There he goes,
so
back into the race.
That car leaves powered by its supercapacitor as it heads off up the pit lane, and then once it reaches the 60 km/h pit lane speed limit, bang, on turns the engine, so it actually bump starts the engine as it goes down pit lane. They're heading up on the 60 km/h limit. He passes the beacon, and away he goes.
So just about everyone's changed recently, apart from Marc Genet, who's still in the lead Audi. Probably just enjoying being out in the lead, loving it.
I think so, but Andre Lotra immediately, yeah, fastest first sector of the race so far.
Amazing.
And that's on a heavy fuel load, so 31.9. That I think is quicker than we saw in qualifying. Oh no, the 35 class leading G-Drive LMP2 car pushed back into the garage. Another shake-up here. So we're seeing Jan Mardenborough coming out of the cockpit and Alex Brundle piling in. Rear deck coming off. And what have they got in their toolbox? Looks like they know what they're going to.
Yes.
Brakes.
Rear brakes?
Yep.
Surprise. Rear and front brakes?
Probably. As we see, the 97 nearly ready to go back out. I go back to that. David King and John Gore are going to be having a conversation about that, aren't they? A failure that happened last year to that car twice. Not that car, but cars within the Aston Martin Racing family twice. You can't... Yeah, once is a mistake. 3 times, it's hard to swallow. So, as we see Alex Brundle getting strapped into that car, they've just pulled the data out. They've got the engine cover off. Thierry Bouvet on the right-hand side, just having a really good look round. There doesn't seem to be any panic, any reason to be worrying. They're just giving it a really good look over. That's one of the race engineers crawling over the roof, not a mechanic.
They've got about a lap advantage over the Thierry Ligier, so...
But if this car's having to do the brakes or whatever it is, so is the Thierry car.
And actually, why are they doing rear brakes and not front brakes?
I'm surprised by that, but you never know. Sometimes you can find that a supplier can't give you a thick enough pad in a particular material to do the job. So it may have been something that they knew from a performance point of view they wanted to take, and therefore, you know, the pad material on the front, or even the caliper that they're using, able to accept a wide enough pad to do the distance. You know, normally you're talking about a 25mm thick pad at the start of the race, and 2 of those, one on either side of the disc, that you wear away down to nothing, and you get through nearly 2 sets of those in a race. So yeah, it's the Thierry car coming in. I suspect we're going to see the same with that car, turned around, put back into the pit garage, and whatever servicing that it's getting done, the 97 out.
Now with Darren Turner on board, that's the Aston which had the problem with Bruno Senna, and now Darren Turner out in 4th place in class, and I suspect he's probably 2 or 3 laps, 3 laps adrift.
5 laps total lost, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's about that, yeah.
The Thierry car not looking like it's going back in the garage, but some long glances at it. So this is the lead battle now in LMP2. In fact, this is going to be the Thierry car probably taking the lead. So 35 car, I do think they're just giving this a really good once over. There just doesn't look to be any panic. No, I say that. The right rear corner, there seems to be some banging going on. Thierry car heads off, up, out of the, still with, at the end of this lap, that car's going to come around. 97 reported to have smoke at rear.
That's the Aston.
That pipe is not fixed, or the smoke is just burning off from whatever oil has ended up all down the transmission tunnel, and it might even take a couple of laps to clear that.
Well, that's a quick one for Thierry, and next time around, if this car is still stationary, they will take the lead of the class.
It is rear pads, you know. That was the pad pullers going in, and...
well, they say it's already changed, according to that.
Yeah, OK.
Yep.
Done at the first sector. OK, so the Thierry car leads again. That car did lead earlier on. Car 97 losing fluid, rear left. I'm not confident that it will be. It may well have dropped a load of fluid somewhere that's now pouring out, but I'd be very, very suspect if that car was continuing to lose fluid. The Aston Martin Racing guys, one of the most professional teams in the pit lane, and I don't believe that those guys would let that car go unless they were confident in the repair that they'd made, which I think will just have been changing a burst pipe.
Interesting switch there, but with the Zytek going ahead of
Simon Dolan now on board that car
against René Rast.
Well, René, I think we're going to see him in a Porsche here next year somehow.
I think he should be. Admittedly, this could be a sort of dress rehearsal for his LMP debut.
I think so. I think you'll find that Porsche are funding that drive for René, and he's been a big part of that family now for quite a long time. Is it 2 times French champion and once Super Cup?
Twice Super Cup.
Twice Super Cup.
Yep.
Pretty special driver.
And indeed, I think he was... I think he's also been probably in Germany. He's, yes, Porsche Carrera Cup German champion in 2008. And then 3 times, actually, super champion, 2010, 2011, 2012.
That's some run, isn't it? And you're surprised not to see him in a GTE car now. So the 97 car continuing on out on circuit, so their message about it losing fluid, I suspect we're right that that's just getting rid of whatever it had spilt, and I don't think causing anybody else any harm, because it'll be burning off rather than pouring out. We see some highlights.
And just looking at 2nd and 3rd in GT Pro, the gap was about 2 minutes. And something from Richard Leeds to Jordan Taylor in the Chevrolet Corvette. So Leeds in a Porsche, Jordan Taylor in the Chevrolet Corvette. That's 2nd and 3rd in GT Pro. And so there's a potential battle there in the remaining 5 hours now we have.
Just still trying to find out what's going on with that Ligier parked in the garage, the 35 car, with Alex Brundle now at the wheel, having been handed over by Jan Mardenborough. Jan did a fairly short stint there, but I think Jan's probably fairly tired, having done the bulk of the night driving. It's back out. It's on pit lane. The car going to go down. He's not quite going to lose a lap, is he? This is going to be their fight back, and Alex Brundle more than man enough to go out there and chase that down.
Father Martin is here, having come down on a motorcycle as a bit of a jolly. And so 10:03, it's been in the pits about 8 minutes, that Ligier.
So actually it's Mark Szulziski going back in that car. So now they're changing the rotation on that car. But Pierre Terray continues to lead in the class. I think that gap's going to be something over 3 minutes now. I'm just looking to see him come through in front of us. Not there yet, as we see Sebastian Loeb within his own team, stood in the back of the garage, watching what's going on. And the hybrid harvesting there, you hear on the Audi, the big whine as it goes into the second chicane on the Mulsanne, turning left out of there, and on the run down to Mulsanne Kink and Mulsanne Corner. So 4 hours and 55 minutes remain of this 82nd running of the Le Mans 24 Hour. Jimmy Brunny now with a clear 2-lap advantage in the LMGTE class, with Jordan Taylor and Richard Leitz pushing him hard. Richard Leitz and Jordan Taylor now on the same lap. So that's a battle to watch, because the Corvette is on a fantastic drive back through. Those guys lost about 8 minutes this morning to something transmission related in the pits. They didn't put it back in the garage, they didn't feel the need, but they spent a lot of time under the back of that car playing with lots of spanners and lots of tools, and then putting in a tub of something which looked like transmission fluid. And now sending that car on its way again. But Jordan Taylor now really chasing on and actually catching his is he catching his brother Ricky in the LMP2 car?
Yeah, good point.
Not quite, but yeah, not a lot separating those two.
Yeah, Ricky Taylor driving for Leconte, who of course Jacques Leconte in the Labre Competition LMP2 car. They used to run Chevrolet Corvettes, and Ricky Taylor and brother Jordan very much involved with Chevrolet Corvettes, run by their father Wayne Taylor, no mean racer in his own right for many, many years. Originally South African, now living in Florida. And Wayne Taylor, really an excellent driver, as I say, in his own right, but now running the two boys, Ricky and Jordan.
Absolutely, and only a lap separates the two of them in different classes. Ricky in the LMP2 class and Jordan in that factory Corvette. But as I say, the factory Corvette, I wouldn't, if I was Porsche, I'd be worried to see that car coming back, because it's coming from a long way back, and the 92 not really losing a lot of time, but they used one of their lives last night when we saw the incident with the Porsche and the the Audi and the Toyota on the Mulsanne Straight. That was almost part of what triggered it. That 92 car hitting the guardrail on the inside, just as the section we're coming to, just as you came onto the Mulsanne Straight. Okay, so that's interesting to hear then, the track temperature coming back, the understeer going away. So that's often the case, that the track will come back to you. We didn't see low track temperature all through the running that we've done. We didn't get cool nights at all in the running on Wednesday and Thursday, so they haven't had an opportunity to set the cars up for that. So that's cured that. 43 reported to the stewards for speeding in the pit lane. 43 being the Morgan.
Yeah, it's quite some way down, 6th in class, I think.
We're not getting details of the fines that they're getting to go with their slap on the wrists. But
no, I've seen them on the web, and they're sort of, I don't know, few hundred or a couple of €1,000. But the interesting thing about when you get a fine from World Endurance Championship, they give you the bank account number in which to pay, the sort code number, and you have to do it there and then, get on with it.
Do they give you a computer as well?
No, they don't quite do that. You transfer the money there and then. No waiting, no disputing, just we'll have the money now. 29 also reported for speeding in the pit lane, and that is Leutzweiler in the LMP2 Morgan, even further back. Also speeding in the pit lane, reported to the stewards. Now on board with Audi number 1, being delayed by a couple of GTs here. And one moves over, not perhaps realising that the two of them, two Porsches, are now blocking the leader, Marc Genet, getting past them both. I must admit, these guys are pretty restrained. I mean, so often in Formula One, you'd see them not quite shaking their fists, because they don't shake their fists anymore, they just raise their arm as though to say, what on earth are you doing?
Yeah, absolutely. No, they a lot more patient, these guys, that's for sure.
Just because they know that these guys are having their own race, they're having their own dramas, you know, it's just as much for anybody else, and they're trying desperately to keep out of the way.
Absolutely. I'm still trying to find out what's happened to the car that we saw come into the pits, the 35 car that still sits second in class. The new Ligier, this is the G-Drive version of that car with the Nissan in the back. No news as to what it was that they did. I do suspect that was just rear brakes, in which case I think the Thierry by TDS car is going to owe us a stop.
Now, the leader in the pits, Marc Genet, brings it in. He's got a couple of laps advantage over the Porsche in second place of Timo Bernhard, number 20. Andre Losserer is the fastest man on the circuit in third spot in number 2 Audi. Then comes Sebastian Buemi, fractionally slower in the Toyota number 8. Neil Jani is in 5th place in the Porsche, just a few tenths quicker than Buemi. And then Nick Heidfeld in the Rebellion in 6th place. And then comes Pierre Thirier in the first of the LMP2 cars, ahead of Mark Schulz-Hitzky. Now, let's see what's happening with this Audi pit stop.
Mr. Le Mans strapped into the car already.
TK.
Tom Christensen, looking for his 10th victory here at the Le Mans 24-hour.
I love that bloke at the back. He always gives the rear wheel a little bounce.
Yeah,
makes sure there's some air in it.
Yeah. Helps him launch it onto the stub axle as he, the other man goes in with the gun and hits it hard. Full service and away it goes.
What a team, away they go.
So the number 1 car leaving the pits. Full service to 123, that's what we expect. 123 to 130 is sort of the range that they should be doing them in. That's probably one of the quickest stops we've seen so far. So Tom heads out in the hunt.
Bidding for win number 10 at Le Mans. You just wonder, will he call it a day at 10?
Magic 300 laps.
Sebastian Loeb didn't go to 10 World Rally Championships.
I don't think you'd never say never with him not going back to WRC, but let's see. I don't know. He's loving what he's doing in the World Touring Car Championship and running his own team, of course, here. And doing very well too in the switch to the WTCC. 95 car, that car leading its class, the Pro-Am car. David Hanneman-Hansen in that car. He's getting towards the end of his run, I think, and going to be looking to hand that car over. Christian Ried in the 88 Porsche, second in that class. Christian been around a while. That's the new 991, so we've got 2 of those cars now on the podium, 1 in each class, going very well.
Yeah, we mentioned Christian a few days ago, actually.
Yeah,
it sounds unfair. But just to say that the Proton competition was founded in 1996 by his father, Gerold Ried, and now run by son Christian, based at Ummendorf, south of Ulm in Germany, in Baden-Württemberg. They've always run Porsches, and father and son used to drive, and they have won Le Mans Series titles and driver titles as well. So they're with Klaus Bachler, who's a Porsche junior driver and winner in the Super Cup last year, and Khaled Al-Kubaisi from the United Arab Emirates, who has raced in the Porsche Carrera Cup Middle East.
Yeah, and Hugh Hayden, father of Bart, the late Hugh Hayden, he actually helped those guys set that team up and run that team for the first couple of years before he got the Rebellion program together and chose to go that direction, and very much involved with those guys. They're a fantastic group, and I know that Bart will be very pleased to see how well those guys are going, because a lot of family effort went into that. As we see the 92 second in class car coming in, GTE Pro, Ricard Leitz bringing the car down the pit lane, and I think we're going to see Leitz probably out of that car now, as we're talking about the 88 car. They're now showing it on the screen, the Taizan car all over the back of it. Fuel going in, driver stays in.
19th overall, second in class. Contact between 57 and 70 under investigation.
57. Neither car really in contention for anything.
Well, 57, I don't know what they were. They obviously felt they were in contention with one another, really. Yeah. Tracy Crone and Shinji Nakano.
Nakano's been in quite a lot of trouble so far this weekend.
Yeah,
that's the third time.
Anyway.
Yeah, but Nakano in particular, I've seen 3 times messages about him, and considering he's an ex-Formula 1 driver, I'm a little surprised by what's gone on there. He's better than that, I think, is probably the right way to put it, as the 95 pays us another visit in pit lane.
And that's the Team Taizan car with Pierre Ere. I said 70. Shinji Nakano.
Yeah.
Doesn't actually show him here.
Yeah, Shinji in for Martin Rich, I think. No, James Rossiter, of course, not here.
Yeah, he's not here. Yeah. So
James is. I thought he was definitely slated to be in and done, but he was originally slated for the Lola LMP1 entry, which of course didn't come to anything. The car launched here. I haven't actually seen it. I don't know where it is. I was told it was here. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But Boris Burmese, who is Colin Collis' right arm, here telling everyone that car is going to be out at the Circuit of the Americas race with a heavy test program due. We'll see how that one develops.
Look at that, fastest lap of the race. Is that, yes, it is, fastest lap of the race to Andre Lotterer. And this is after 20 hours?
Yeah, absolutely.
20 hours and 15 minutes.
And Tom Kimber-Smith and Mika Salo having some fun as well in the LMP2 class cars.
Sorry, 19 hours and 15 minutes. Absolutely extraordinary.
What it is to be seeing all these people setting fastest times after 19 hours of running. But yeah, Tom deciding to get the hurry up and get on with it, seeing a sniff of a podium again, I suspect, because that is all very close in that class. And Tom, a former race winner here in class, he knows how to do it. And young Mac McMurray looking for his finish, and if he does finish, he will be not only the youngest ever starter, but the youngest ever finisher of the Le Mans 24-hour race.
So Lotterer, a 2 minutes 22.881, which is about 4/10 quicker than Kazuki Nakajima's fastest time, which was fastest lap just up until, well, it was set on the 4th lap of the race when they didn't have any traffic, whereas Lotterer has had traffic around the circuit, unless he was lucky and had a clear lap. We didn't spot that, but what a great lap for Andre Lotterer in 3rd place, and 2 laps between the two.
That's them saying, Kyle saying, let him go, don't race him. He needs to go and chase that Porsche down. We want that one too. Fighting for within the Volkswagen family there. Volkswagen Group, Audi, Porsche, Volkswagen, Lamborghini, and Skoda, I believe, as well. All in that massive corporate brand. But great to see the guys on the board at Porsche and Audi, Volkswagen Group, deciding to let these guys come and race each other here at Le Mans. They could easily have said, no, we send one manufacturer or the other, but what a show they're putting on, and doing no harm to either brand, but being here and duking it out.
So Tom Christensen out in the lead, 301 laps for him. 25 pit stops. In second place, Timo Bernhardt in the Porsche, number 20. 300 laps for him. Two pit stops less, and on the same number as Andre Lotterer in third place in number 2 Audi. 300 laps for him. So Lotterer trying hard to catch up the difference, and look at that. Last time around, the difference was 11 seconds between Bernhardt, 3 minutes 35, and Lotterer, 3 minutes 24. And then Sebastian Buemi, 3 minutes 25, who is a further 7 laps further back and 2 pit stops more. And then Neil Janney. Into the pits comes Timo Bernhardt in the number 20 Porsche that he shares with Brendan Hartley and Mark Webber, currently in second place, but he's into the pits, Timo Bernhardt. And out of the pits.
Feels like a very short stint, that. I don't think that was a scheduled stop.
Well, he's straight back out again. We didn't see what happened in the stop.
Wonder if they had a problem with a slow fill, or if they had a temperature rising because something was blocking something, because he certainly hasn't been out there and done 13 laps since we saw Mark Webber get out of that car. Did I write it down? No, I did not. So that's him exiting the pits on his lap 3:01.
Now, Pierre Thirier having a little battle with Nick Heidfeld, not on circuit, but they're both on the same lap. Thirier leading LMP2 and Nick Heidfeld leading LMP1L. In fact, he's the only runner still in that class with the Rebellion Toyota. And they're 55 seconds behind Pierre Thirier. And then comes Mark Schulz-Hitzky in the Ligier number 35, that's second in LMP2, and then Simon Dolan in the Zytek number 38, third in LMP2, and then Paul Loupchatin in the Alpine number 36, fourth in LMP2. Further back, Gianmaria Bruni leading the class, as is Nicky T now out in Aston number 95. So here we are back live, and it's Sunday morning. Local time is 10:21. A beautiful morning, some white fluffy clouds up in the sky, but basically bright sunshine. No sign, touch wood, of the showers that we had a couple of hours into the race yesterday.
Absolutely, I don't think it's forecast to be a fine, dry day. As we see the 50 Morgan Ladbroke competition, Ricky Taylor out of that car. Didn't want to get passed by his brother in a Corvette, but he did set a fastest time for that car on his in-lap, which fairly impressive.
4 hours and 38 minutes of this race still to go. And number 58.
We're expecting to see
the pits.
Jimmy Bruni comes past one more time. I think he should be in the next lap, the leader of the GTE class, but quite frankly, he's now running at a canter when you look at the times he was doing compared to the times they were doing when they were duking it out between the two of them, he and Bruno Senna.
Well, actually, Jordan Taylor lapping 3 seconds quicker on that last lap, 2.5 seconds quicker than on that last lap.
Well, Darren Turner going 5 seconds a lap faster than anybody else in that class. Massively fired up on the chase back through. He's actually behind the Pro-Am car with Nicky Thiem at the wheel. Nicky just coming into the pits, but Darren needing to push on now and try and close the gap to Jordan Taylor. That gap, 3 laps, so he'll never give up, but never say never, but it's not looking strong for a podium in the Pro-Am class, sorry, the GT Pro class for the Aston Martin squad. The Tillier car passing them as they come down now. The class leader in LMP2. He's doing 3:42.1 last time round again. They seem to have backed off just a little bit. Mark Shlisky in the second place car in LMP2, the Ligier. He's doing a 42 as well, matching each other time for time. Mark not the quickest of the 3 drivers in that car, so we might see the Ligier guys, the guys at the Oak Racing Garage, give Mark a short stint and then put Jan the Man back in that car for the big chase, because they've got to do something to close that gap to that Tillier car, unless the Tillier car has got to do brakes, but we'll see. I suspect if they needed to do brakes, it would be being done pretty soon.
Interesting, there's about 4 drivers all in the 3-minute 42-second bracket. Pierre Thirier was one, Mark Schultz-Hitzky was another, Paul Le Chatin was a 3rd, and Tom Kimber-Smith further back was a 4th, all in the same bracket. And that's how close LMP2 was at the start. It's slightly fallen apart in that Pierre Thirier is on his own out front, a couple of laps ahead of that Ligier, but it's a Ligier 1-2 in these coupes that they're running, brand new cars.
Absolutely, and I'm sure the guys at Oak Racing wouldn't be sad to see their customer team take the victory, because actually, as far as the future of that project and that car goes, to see the customer beat the factory here at Le Mans would be fantastic, as that is intended as a customer car, something that they can market to the greater LMP2 field, and I suspect we're going to see that car selling quite well.
It's very interesting how France has actually become a racing car manufacturer again, at least in LMP2. You put your finger slightly on it the other day when you said there were a lot of ex-Peugeot people around, and of course we did see Peugeots, we saw Oricas, we saw Pescarolos as well. But out of all that has come, Courage, for example, out of all that has come quite an industry. Oricas, for example, run by Hugues de Schoenack, Oaks run by Jean-Pierre Nicolet. Now the Alpines, admittedly they're the same. They're also built by
the Orica squad.
Yeah. So, yeah. But it's quite interesting how they've managed to take over in a way LMP2, and have also marketed them the way they've marketed them with Alpine, with Morgan, with Ligier as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and it all goes back to the core Courage Pescarolo days. All the cars built over in the Techno Park here at Le Mans, and those guys sort of spread out, and then when the Peugeot Big Factory program came in, lots of those guys got pulled into that. Of course, that's the 51 in, as we suggested, on lap, just going to write that down, 271. Spot on.
272, in fact. As it went across the line.
So yeah, end of 271. So yeah, sorry, the Peugeot squad, of course, Peugeot switched that project off overnight, deciding that with the cars ready to ship to Sebring, and they still have some of those, they have a lot of that equipment and cars sitting in the factory as they were the day that they said, this is it, we're pulling the plug, which was the first year of these hybrid regulations. A lot of those guys dispersed into, certainly, a lot of them over in Oak Racing, and you know, a couple of them down at Orica. They're a fantastic group of people, and now a lot of them are starting to head back towards Peugeot, actually. Some of the guys working on that new Dakar project, which we're going to see running at the end of the year. That car running next week, actually, for the first time. and it'll be fantastic to see those guys coming back to do an assault on Dakar, because it's been, what, 15 years since we saw the Citroën, Peugeot Citroën group there, the Citroën, those famous camel-coloured cars. So let's see what happens there, but a lot of the guys being attracted back to Peugeot for that project.
And it's an extraordinary project. Just to go briefly into that, it's basically a buggy with a body shell.
Absolutely.
Two-wheel drive, not four-wheel drive. Very interesting that Peugeot have analysed that and decided to go for the two-wheel drive route.
I expected to see Mr. Loeb jumping into that, but apparently not. That's Carlos Sainz, who's obviously we've been talking about, going to be doing that programme. Carlos, the programme based around him, I think.
And it's got 36-inch wheels on that.
It's just unreal.
It's going to be a monster.
It's based on the 9008. They're all-road vehicle, and it looks stunning. But we'll actually see that car outrunning that buggy outrunning next week, I think. And let's see. I have every reason to suspect they'll be out there with the BMW X-Grade guys run by the Sven Font, who was, of course, fairly influential at BMW. I suspect he'll be watching his back.
Well, was that 73? Yes, Jordan Taylor was in that car, 1 minute and 28 seconds behind Richard Leeds. So there is a battle for second place in class. Meanwhile, Tony Villander is in Ferrari number 51, which is the class leader. And it looks as though Jordan Taylor has stayed in that car. Meanwhile,
Andre Lotra, first sector, 31.8 versus the next quickest first sector, Seb Buemi, 32.7. Fastest overall first sector of the race as the fuel load starts to come down on that Audi. We saw him do it straight out the pits, now doing it again.
Can he set another fastest lap? 3 minutes 26 was his last lap, 3 minutes 25 for Buemi.
And 3:22.8 his quicker lap earlier in this stint.
3 minutes 26 also for Tom Christensen, 3 minutes 27 for Neil Jani, and 3 minutes 31 for Timo Bernhard.
That Porsche just doesn't seem to have the pace, does it? You know, the Rebellion lapping within a second of the Porsche. I think that's a Corvette. No, it's not going slowly, just breaking into the...
Just come out of the pits, actually. Jordan Taylor, 2 minutes 21 now behind Richard Leeds in the Porsche.
So the middle sector for Andre Lotra, fairly impressive as well, 78.6, which goes versus 79.3 for Neil Jani and also Tom Christensen. See how he completes this lap, but he definitely wants to catch Timo Bernhard, and he's a lap back now. So we've got a lap between each of these first three. Tom Christensen on 305, Timo Bernhard 304, Andre Lotra 303, but Lotra absolutely flying. Frankie Mayer getting a move on in the LMP2 class, setting a personal best for that car. The 34 car run by that, I think, the Labra car. No, because Kieko Hara is in the Labra car.
Yeah, 34 is race performance.
Keep getting those two mixed up.
So Michel Frey with Frank Mayer and John Lancaster. They've been in with a shout most of the time, of course, but they had that pit stop a little while ago. That's dropped them back, unfortunately, back to about 6th, 7th in class. It's just so competitive that if you have any sort of problem, somebody else will be in there. Absolutely,
as we see the class leader coming round past us with the number 2 car chasing him down. Andre Lotra comes across to set A. 3:23.3. He must have had traffic in that last sector.
And Neil Jani, the Swiss driver who won the A1 series with the Swiss team, which was single seater, of course, and Neil Jani. It's very good to see that he's got a berth with the Porsche team, because he certainly has the pace.
Absolutely, and that's been given to him, blessed to him, I think, really, by Bart Hayden and the crew at Rebellion. He was their main driver last year, and Bart sad to see him go, but equally I think it was pretty obvious from the middle of last year when Porsche announced that Niels wouldn't be staying with them for long, and everyone a little bit surprised that Nick Heidfeld didn't make that jump as well, because quick Nick, definitely, you know, he and Nick Manasseh are two quick, very quick Nicks. As the Jota car comes in from third in class, Simon Dolan in. I think Simon will be staying in that car now.
On that lap, Andre Lotterer set a time about half a second slower than his previous best, which is the fastest lap of the race so far. So he's flying, is Andre Lotterer, and he's now 1 minute and 54 seconds behind the Porsche number 20.